Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. James Comey has suggested that for the sake of unity, the unity we so badly need, Joe Biden consider pardoning Donald Trump. This appeals to the live-along, get-along souls of people like me, but it is a terrible idea. In fact, it's an idea that threatens our very democracy. To repeat, pardoning Donald Trump would be kissing our Constitution and democracy goodbye. Let me tell you why. Donald Trump has stirred up an armed mob that has spent the last 40 years training for something far bigger than the insurrection that a well-trained, well-prepared mob pulled off at the Capitol building on January 6th. There are at least 165 militias in this country. For over 40 years, these militias members have put themselves through military training for a civil war, special forces level training. You saw that training at work in the videos of men climbing the walls around the Capitol building on January 6th. Yes, climbing up walls, something that's absolutely impossible for you and me. For 40 years, these militias have been hungry for the civil war that will overturn the existing order, that will cleanse America of blacks and Jews, that will give them a white Aryan homeland. And that just may possibly trigger the rapture, an apocalypse, followed by the return of Christ. But these militia groups have had a problem. They have communicated with each other, but they've remained scattered like puzzle pieces, uncoordinated, without a common national leader. Today, thanks to Donald Trump, that heavily armed, SEAL team level trained gaggle of 165 militias have found a national leader and a common purpose, a leader and a goal that unites them, bringing Donald Trump back to the White House. In the name of that goal, these militias and media groups like WND, DC Swamp Watch, and Republican Pundit are talking about reviving the spirit of 1776. What do they mean by the spirit of 1776? Not just an insurrection, but a full-scale revolution, a bloody revolution to overturn the government of the United States. In our revolution, 35,000 Americans died. What form of bloodletting do today's Trumpist violent revolutionaries want? They want what they call the storm. Among other things, they want the destruction of the Democratic Party. They want to hang or shoot the Democrats in Congress, the Senate, and the White House. In their opinion, the Democratic Party is a gang of radicals out to pull off a revolution of its own, a revolution designed to install a communist tyranny, a tyranny that's part of a bloodthirsty global dictatorship. As a Democrat, I can tell you that simply isn't true. But they see this as part of a one-world government run by a cabal of child-raping Satan worshippers. And what do the pro-Trump revolutionaries want to counter that one-world government, that supposed fantasy one-world government, with? Stewart Rhodes is a leader of the Oath Keepers. He led a paramilitary team of 10 that helped break into the Capitol building on January 6th. And he says the insurrection of January 6th was just the lead-up to, quote, a much more desperate, much more bloody war. A war that Rhodes and his allies and other militias seem to be planning for March 4th, the date America used for presidential inaugurations up until 1933. March 4th is the day that some in the militia movement and its allies, the folks at QAnon, believe will bring Donald Trump back to the White House and get rid of Joe Biden, which means March 4th may be the day of the civil war that militias yearn for, the day that war will begin. That struggle will be followed by a tyranny of Trump, a one-party Trumpist state, a state ruled by the man the militia mobs believe has been anointed by God himself to save the United States. If Donald Trump is allowed to run for office in 2024, he will do once again what he did during the election of 2020. He will spend months or years destroying his followers' faith in the election process. He will wrap his followers in the phony perception that any vote for a Democrat is an illegal vote, and that the only votes with what he calls integrity are votes for him. He will create as much chaos as he can around the voting process itself. Then, if he loses, he will use his gangs of bully boys, his 165 well-trained Special Forces level militias, to take power by force. In other words, Trump will start the carnage he spoke of in his inaugural address. He will pit his militias against the American military and the National Guards. In fact, if he gets back into the White House, he will not have to fight America's military. He will fight with them. He will be our military's commander-in-chief. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the end of your democracy and mine. Do not allow Donald Trump to run for office again, ever, or we will be forced to kiss our Constitution goodbye. This is Howard Bloom, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make and in this era of Trump, a future that is vitally at stake. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for that infamously sleazy, slimy, sluggish, stupid little off button.